Do you like squirrels? Well, with the new Bloomburrow Squirrel Away Precon coming out, and all the new support that's coming out in the set for squirrel cards, I put together a few cards that I think you might need. So we're going to go ahead and talk about Dray Keeper, Squirrel Sovereign, and Chitter Spitter here. Dray Keeper is a green and a black and 3 other for a 2/2 with... Whenever ETBs, create 2 1/1 green squirrel creature tokens, 3 and a black. Squirrels you control get +1/+0 and gain menace. Till end of the turn, repeatable for as much mana as you have. Squirrel Sovereign, other squirrels you control get a +1/+1 2/2, a green and 1 other. Chitter Spitter, a green and 2 other, an artifact. At the beginning of your upkeep, you may sack a token. If you do, put an acorn counter on Chitter Spitter. Squirrels you control get +1/+1 for each acorn counter on Chitter Spitter. Green tap, create a 1/1 green squirrel creature token. And moving on now, we've got Deep Forest Hermit, Nut Collector, and Deranged Hermit. Deep Forest Hermit, 3 and 2 green, vanishing 3. So you put the counters on it, you remove one at the beginning of the upkeep unless you remove sack it. When Deep Forest Hermit enters, ETBs, create 4 1/1 green squirrel creature tokens. Squirrels you control get +1/+1. Nut Collector, at the beginning of your upkeep, you may create a 1/1 green squirrel creature token. Threshold, all squirrels get +2/+2 as long as you have 7 or more cards in your graveyard. Then Deranged Hermit, 2 green and 3 other for a 1/1, has Echo, so you have to repay the Echo cost at the beginning of every upkeep, or you sacrifice it. When it enters, 4 1/1 squirrels. Squirrels get +1/+1. I personally think the Deep Forest Hermit is a lot better because at least you get it for 3 turns. The Echo upkeep cost of 5 is kind of a little bit taxing for me, but anywho, if you want to run both, go ahead and run both. And next up, we have Chatter of the Squirrel, 1 green, create a 1/1 green squirrel creature token with flashback for a green and 1 other. Squirrel Nest, 2 green, 1 other for an enchantment or enchant land. Enchant land gets the ability tap, create a 1/1 green squirrel creature token. Cloakwood Hermit, a green and 2 other legendary enchantment background. Commander creatures you own have, at the beginning of your end step, if a creature card was put into your graveyard from anywhere this turn, create 2 tapped 1/1 green squirrel creature tokens. I really like the flashback on the Chatter of the Squirrel. That means you're guaranteed to at least get 2 out of it. And a hint for a little bit something earlier, Squirrel Nest is part of a 2-card infinite combo that you can stop willingly and it doesn't draw out the game. And now we're going to go ahead and move to... Next lineup of cards is Chatterstorm. 1 and a green, create a 1/1 green squirrel creature token. Storm, when you cast a spell, copy it for each spell cast before it this turn. So you do a spell count, and however many skills you've cast before, Chatterstorm up its storm count. Scurry Oak. A green and 2 other has evolved, and when 1 or more 1/1 counters are put on Scurry Oak, you may create a 1/1 green squirrel creature token. Squirrel Sanctuary, a green enchantment with Squirrel Sanctuary enters the battlefield, create a 1/1 green squirrel creature token. Whenever a non-token creature you control dies, you may pay 1. If you do, return Squirrel Sanctuary to its owner's hand. I like the Storm off on Chatterstorm, the ability to get more than 1 squirrel creature token out of it has some synergy with some other stuff. Scurry Oak is also a piece of a 2-card infinite combo that you can also stop willingly. And then Squirrel Sanctuary, just when you need it, make a squirrel, pay 1 to get it back, later, might be able to stack it up. No, it's nice. Alright, and now we're going to go ahead and move on to... We've got Verdant Command. It's a green and 1 other. It's an instant. Choose 2. Target player creates 2 tapped 1/1 green squirrel creature tokens. Counter target loyalty ability of a planeswalker. Exile target card from a graveyard. Target player gains 3 life. Druid's Call, a green and 1 other. Whenever enchanted creature is dealt damage, his controller puts that many 1/1 green squirrel creature tokens into play. Acorn Harvest, kind of an older one. Put 2 1/1 green squirrel creature tokens into play. Sorry, I had a burp. Has flashback for the cost and pay 3 life. So Verdant Command is an instant. It's kind of got a lot of different directions it could go. Make you tokens. It could counter a planeswalker loyalty ability, which you'll hardly ever use it, but when you need it, you will. Exile target card from a library at instant speed is always nice, and then target player gains 3 life. Kind of the squirrels, maybe the exile. Druid's Call, enchant creatures, pretty nice. Whenever it takes damage, you make tokens. And then Acorn Harvest is a different version of making, squirrels. It's always nice to make more squirrels. And now, what we have up next is a little bit of a special high synergy cards, big boys. Now I know that Fang Squirrel General is getting reprinted, so you don't have to worry about him or go ahead and get him beforehand. Our price will probably drop, so go ahead and get him after. And then we have Toski, Bearer of Secrets. 3 and a green, And this spell can't be countered. Indestructible. Toski Bearer Secrets attach each combat at able. Whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. Where you're going to have a lot of different creatures coming in, creatures going out, creatures attacking. So a lot of squirrel tokens and everything like that. So whenever anything gets through to do combat damage, you'll be able to draw a card. Then of course Squirrel Mob, 2 green and 1 other. Squirrel Mob gets 1+1 for each other squirrel on the battlefield. You got a lot of squirrel tokens out there, got a lot of different squirrels. You know Squirrel Mob's going to be a big boy. And then of course Fang, a green and 2 has Forest Walk. If 1 or more tokens will be created under your control, those tokens plus that many 1/1 green squirrel creature tokens are created instead. Pay a black, sacrifice X squirrels, target creature gets +X/-X until end of turn. Fang is a beast, and I love him. You'll see why here in a little bit. And moving on, get some more high synergy cards coming up here in Ravenous Squirrel, hybrid mana green-black. Whenever you sacrifice an artifact or a creature, put a 1/1 counter on Ravenous Squirrel. 1 black and green, sacrifice an artifact or creature, you gain 1 life and draw a card. So whenever you're sacking your artifacts or your creature tokens or anything like that to anything, Ravenous Squirrel is going to get biggie boy. You can also just sack them to gain a life and draw a card, then put another counter on him. Squirrel Wrangler, 2 green and 2 other, kind of an older one here. Pay 1 and a green, sack a land, put 2 1/1 green squirrel crit tokens into play. 1 and a green, sack a land, all squirrels get +1/+1 until end of turn. You can activate this as much as you have mana, and I guess lands to get rid of. You don't really want to be getting rid of lands, but you know, if you really need the 2 tokens to like activate a combo or something else like that, then you need it. Swarmyard, land, tap out a colorless, tap, regenerate target insect, rat, spider, or squirrel, which would be really helpful in the upcoming Bloomburrow set, but specifically for regenerating our commander or anything like that we don't want to lose that goes out to attack. Alright, next up we got some combos coming up here. So we've got EarthCraft, tap an untapped creature you control, untap target-based land, and Squirrel Nest, obviously like I said earlier. So what you have happen here is you enchant a land, tap Squirrel Nest to make a token, use EarthCraft to tap it, untap the land, and rinse, repeat. Next up on the infinite combos, we have Scurry Oak and Ivy Lane Denizen. So you want Ivy Lane out, and then you want to cast Scurry Oak, and then you'll put the 1/1 counter on Scurry Oak to make a squirrel. Ivy Lane will trigger off a token, put it on Scurry Oak, squirrel. You get what I'm saying? Infinite squirrels, baby. Next up, we've got our boy Fang Squirrel General, Pitiless Plunderer, Markwood Bats. So you got Fang out, you have at least 1 or 2 squirrel tokens, 1 squirrel token out, and then you activate his ability for 1 black, sack a squirrel, target something, make a treasure, do it over and over and over again. You can wipe the whole board. And then if you have 2 squirrels out, you can do it and sack 2 squirrels each time instead to make infinite treasures and wipe the whole board. And when Markwood Bats out, you win. Some other drainers to go ahead and throw into that Fang combo to have out its Blood Artist, Batch of Remembrance, Tuliport Cutthroat. You know, any just drainer effect that like target player loses 1 life, you gain 1 life. Each opponent loses 1 life, you gain 1 life. You know, stuff like that. With that infinite loop, you know, you win. Fang, Pitiless, drainers, you just win. You just win. If y'all like this video today, go ahead and subscribe. Click the bell for notifications, see if other things coming out soon, and I'll see y'all later. Thanks for watching. Bye.